Welcome to Point to Rise, your podcast that gives you permission to dream big, take messy action, and turn your talent into profit while turning your back on perfection. My name is Susanne Purcell, high performance and mindset coach, former international ballerina, profitable entrepreneur, and founder of Point to Rise, a movement designed to empower dancers. It is my mission to use my own story as an inspiration for today's generation of dancers. And now sit back, stretch, warm up, or sip your coffee and love learning how much it matters to point at yourself first to rise to all that you are capable of. That's Beth. She likes to announce herself. She lets us know when we're recording. And I think that's the best way of starting a podcast anyway. So today we're coming to you at a very different day. We're usually not having podcasts on Wednesday launching, but here we are. So my special guest today and the co-host of this episode is Gina from Dancer 360. So we decided, her and I, to collaborate in launching an episode per week to inspire and give something back to the younger community, the ones that are right now learning on becoming a dancer, stepping into perhaps their first job as a dancer. And we're going to pass along advice and nuggets that we've learned over the years and being active and, doing the inner work that we wished that we had when we were where you are at right now. So this is something that you can listen to when you're warming up in the studio. This is something that you can listen to when you're on your walk or just need a little lift up or don't know what to do next and you feel stuck. So Gina, welcome to the show. I'm so excited that we're doing this, you and I together. Let's start with talking about what Dancer 360 is actually about, like high level overview, and how did you get there?
Well, first of all, I'm so thrilled to be talking with you and sharing these conversations and helping future aspiring dancers to reach greater levels. It's an honor to be chatting with you. So Dancer 360 came about. I was teaching a class at university called Dance Conditioning, which covered things like nutrition for dancers, anatomy, cross-training, how to gain strength and increase flexibility safely. And my dancers said to me at the end of the class, I can't believe I'm a senior in college and I'm just taking this class now. I needed this when I was a freshman. And that got the wheels turning for me, thinking, well, why are we only really educating dancers on holistic health when they're at the pre-professional level or when they're in a college dance program? I really wanted to take this kind of sciencey, heady knowledge and boil it down to a way that communicates with a dancer that's, 15 and on a competition team or, 20 and a trainee in a company. I wanted to make this valuable knowledge accessible and fun rather than quite so sciencey. So I set about the process of writing a book and building a community around the idea of holistic health for dancers. So not sacrificing our mental health or our soul health in order to be thin or in order to get the job or ace the audition. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me to this point.
Cheers to that. Thank you. Because it's so needed, right? When I started healing from my experiences, from going through like a high level 8-year training to my career, I actually realized that so many things that I believed were true actually came from the training of a dancer and realizing that, oh gosh, that is actually not the truth. This is just something that I thought I had to in order to become. So in today's episode, we just want to really lay the groundwork and the base here and what you can expect. And we also want to share how Gina and I met, because not only is it a very interesting story, I feel it is also it could also be an inspiration for other people to let go of their fear of judgment, and understanding that collaboration is actually part of being successful. So what can you expect? Do you want to start? What can you expect from the show?
Sure. Well, I think you and I, first of all, we just jive so well together. And I think we're really on the same wavelength as far as wanting to help aspiring dancers by sharing some of our experiences in a casual way. And
Right.
so, Suzanne, we had a great time brainstorming different topics. So we've got topics relating to health and wellness, about knowing your worthiness, about how you want to show up in the studio. And we'll address common pitfalls that dancers fall into because of sort of the dialogue that goes on in our heads that we don't realize is happening in the background. So, do you have anything to add to that? Or
Oh, no, it's perfect. Like building actually, or encouraging to gain more awareness that, what you do in a studio every day, yes, is a part of becoming a successful dancer. And whatever success looks like for you is up to you. And just because we haven't really looked at the science of what our mindset is capable of and how it actually is in support of our success versus, or could be in support of our success if we're using it the right way, I actually found that it was working against me and was the reason why I never got where I wanted to get. So that for me is another reason. That's what you can expect, us sharing also stories from our own experiences and translating into what we learned from them and what you can do different, meaning that you actually gain the knowledge how to save yourself some time.
absolutely.
Without having to maybe perhaps fall down and hit the ground. Maybe we will be able to, by sharing our experience and our knowledge, prevent you from that, and for you to gain more skills that then will help you to rise to where you want to get faster. There was something else that I wanted to say and it's gone, so I hope it's gonna come back. So that's definitely what you can expect. Sorry, you want to say something? Tell me.
Oh, yeah. I had a thought. I think we're both in a place where we're prepared to be sort of vulnerable and talk about past experiences that were really challenges to us, to the end that sometimes when you say the words out loud, and people hear them and a discussion is started, they hold less power. I think a lot of things we internalize and we think we're the only ones that struggle with them. But when we're vulnerable and we say the words out loud and we start the discussion, then it's like shining a light in the darkness, and there's less space for that darkness to grow.
Actually, there's no place then when it's it's shame, right? We're carrying. I have learned about myself, and here we go already, sharing from our deepest soul. I have carried for so many years deep shame around my failures or what I wasn't capable of. And the moment I started talking about the shame that was holding me back from actually becoming more was the moment where the shame literally disappeared. It was like taking a magic eraser and just taking it away. Beautiful. The only way these kind of things hold power over us is when we're not talking about it, when we're internalizing them and thinking we're the only ones. So I think 2020 particularly has shown us that in the ballet world, we think we're alone, but we're actually not. And it's on all of us to break that that's the very first step to break that belief and change it by just reaching out and talking and sharing and being vulnerable, which couldn't have picked a better segue. So do you want to start sharing on how you and I met? Because that is actually a very serendipitous story, very divinely guided. I mean, it couldn't have been. We should put that in your book. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, for sure. So I had been an admirer of your work for some time and following you on Instagram and listening to your podcast. And one day I reached out to you, I DM'd you and said, oh gosh, I would love to meet up with you. And, possibly is there a way we could collaborate? Because I loved what you did. I felt like it really aligned with what I was trying to do in the dance world. And you sent me a note back and said, are you in my head right now? Because I was just thinking of connecting with you. And down the line in the conversation, you asked me where I was from. And I said, Charleston. And you said, no way. I'm going to Charleston in 16 days.
So, I know, right? Okay.
And of course you're from, nowhere near here, but it was, as you said, serendipitous. So 16 days later, we got together and talked for a couple of hours, and the rest is sort of history.
Yeah. Also, you are not from Charleston. You just moved there, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I moved in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. And I also have not been in Charleston for several years. So I didn't even plan going to Charleston. It just literally happened to be us having to need to be connected for whatever reason. Well, the reason is right here because we're recording podcasts and offering value and sharing our stories with you. But this is, I think, for me, the prime example of getting over oneself's ego and asking the question and saying, hey, I really like what you're doing. I really want to connect with you. If it aligns, here's my link, book a call. And if it doesn't align with the other person, we are, the door is wide open for the other person to say no. But finding that courage in ourselves to say, hey, letting go of ourselves and saying, I actually like what she's doing, without comparison, without fear of taking away the other person taking away anything, but seeing it as I am actually gaining more information, I'm gaining friendship, I'm gaining connection, I'm gaining so much more by stepping outside of that tiny little comfort zone that we're in when we're thinking we have to stay in our tiny little bubble and do it all by ourselves, right? And the funny thing is that I've been thinking about launching a 4th episode since January, maybe, and I could not think of the right person for it. And then there you go. You just showed up. So grateful. So that is it for today. I would love that if listeners have any questions or want us to talk about certain things, topics that we can help you understand or share our experience around, to really also step outside of your comfortable bubble and just send the message. If you don't want to be mentioned, if you don't want to be seen, that's okay too. We totally understand that. We will not mention your name. But with you asking the question, it's not only going to help you, and it's going to help everybody else that's listening to this podcast. So there. Okay. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your fellow dancers right next to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We're here to serve you, and it would be our greatest desire to know how we can do that with the topics that we discuss. So definitely reach out and let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, love. Well, there we go. First episode. We will talk to you next week. We're sending you so much love. Till then.
Take care.
Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonates with you, please pass it on to someone who needs to hear this right now. And if you like what you've heard, your feedback will go a very long way. If you just take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, that would mean the world to me. Till next time, point at yourself to rise to all that you are capable of.